Hello, I am Michael Lighten, writer of science fiction and poetic works. I am reading 8 sections, formerly 6. Found I was good in math. From Care Teachings for a New World, each section will have its own part so that you can hear how the writing flows and see if you have interest. This reading will consist of subsection 1, Expressions in Modern Humanity. Preface 2. Expressions are an important part of life. How we express ourselves is the pinnacle of clarifying confusion. The interpretation of expression is what sets it apart from other activities. So, if you are going for clarity, express it in simple terms. My human condition. I am of African descent. Yes, but am I not human? A man first born of a seed and egg, encased in a sack for 9 months, pushed forward for 3 days, and born serenely but agitated, crying, not crying, content, not content, going forth in the world as a result of another result. We are all born from the same source. I try to be the best I can be, not the worst. I have tried to give my best days to humanity and keep my worst to myself. If I did not create the world situation, I was born into it. I wouldn't call myself a survivor, more a fighter. If I die for the way, okay. If I live for the way, that's okay too. The clearest and simplest way is the best way. For this reason, I'm a product of all that is, as well as a product of much that should not be. My duty is not to appease, but bring ease to a troubled mind and heart. If somebody is hurt by it, they must have barred the way. My personal task is to assist the whole of humanity, of our unity, even though we are united, but perceive it not. The rise of resolution and the destruction of vows, oaths, and promises. It appears we give more credence to vows, oaths, and promises to others. But when it comes to time to do the same for ourselves, there is doubt it can't be carried out. Why? We can make a vow unto God, but if we slip and do not hold to the vow, we berate ourselves and pray that no wrath falls upon us. Would love truly to force us into a burdensome commitment is required of us? If humankind is promised anything and is not given as planned on a specific date, then there is condemnation to the faltering party. Why? For humankind appears without forgiveness and mercy. If humankind was merciful and forgiving, there would be no wars on earth. In this case, why should humankind forgive a faltering promise with itself, or for one person to another, when love is not recognized within? If a marriage is without a vow, oath, or promise, the weight is not pressed upon the couple. If marriage is predicted on an agreement between the couple for the purpose of love, it appears better than any promise which can be broken. If we live our lives through resolution or the act of establishing our heart on a certain feeling, there would be no reason to promise anything. We would just live our resolution. Names. There appears to be a divine law that holds the universe in order. There appears to be a divine mind that emanates over all. There appears to be a divine heart that shines brightly through the darkness. What name we may call it, collectively or individually, we can never pronounce the divine name, but we can say the name that brings the divine in ourselves. Many get trapped by names, names of religions, nations, cultures, lineages. These all appear to bring power to an individual, to a collective civilization. Many worship their ancestors through flags, crowns, and clothing, not letting their spirits go, not letting them move on. Many become trapped by researching the dead, and thus the researcher becomes dead. Emotions and thinking are as stagnant as solid ice, with no power to do anything in life. The true researcher never gets trapped in the wheel of the dead, but lives in the path of the living. To live is to live now and to allow the past to remain in the past. Names become just names for the true researcher. Research comes about through the establishment of all desires. So that is the true impulse shines through. We must remain still for this to happen, while our mind remains awake. Fiction. Fiction is but a glimpse of truth. Just as a liar holds some echoes of truth in his words, so is fiction storytelling is the same. There appears no harm in reading or listening to fictional accounts. Know that the storyteller should not mix truth with fiction. As long as the two are kept separate, there are no violations against people and their intelligence. Manners. To teach a child the highest, we can teach them manners. The rest will fall into place. Learning to let go. Humankind's forefathers and foremothers are gone about other chores and claims. When somebody passes, leave them past. Thus, we keep them forever. The past is dead. Historians constantly bring up the past, the past, the past. This is called dredging up that which is over. When life is activated and its end is sure, let it go. Magicians. Why the initiation when the activities are already done? Why the ceremony when the movement already took place? There are many trappings and obstacles we conjure up ourselves. We are like magicians, knowingly and unknowingly. Modern times. In modern times, people appear happy, but not so happy. Carefree, but not carefree. The surface is what we usually show, but essence we usually miss. Serious at hand, many are not about the deeper meaning of life, while some appear too serious about nothing. If there is a balance of humor and seriousness, all can function appropriately. Waiting for nothing. Why sit in a boxed up room waiting for something great to happen? Live each day as if it's not the last, close to it. The downfall of critics. Critics are their worst enemy. How can one walk in the way of life and make accusations and blame? Sexual gratification. To go a period without sex does not seem harmful the psyche of individuals, but can strengthen the resolve of a person. Sexual gratification is like clouds bypassing the sun's rays. You want the sun to shine, the rain looms. Many are at a dangerous point these days in relation to sex. Men and women are deeper than that. Expectations. Why do we bear children if they are for our selfish selves? Have the young minds enough to do without prior expectations? The rise of children. At 7, a child noticed some. At 14, they notice a lot more. At 21, the knowledge of life is heavy on them. Responsibility. True responsibility is with those who ask a question or give an answer and are clear on that. For asking and to give an answer is a responsibility to itself. Those who believe they are not responsible to anyone are usually mistaken and are soon proven wrong. The smallest piece. How much study does it take to know something? The more books we have, the more complex the subject. To see if you have a valued gem, observe the smallest piece to take in the largest whole. Inner wars. People is at war with itself, with outside influences we are not aware of. This case we should not be concerned with too much with outside influences. If we defeat the inner, the outer must fall eventually. Past, present, and future. If someone was to come to me and say, "You did this and that and that," I would say, "That is in the past and that has been overcome. Tomorrow is the future, and that's for everyone." Suffering. We were all born to suffer to some degree. This is why we do suffer. It's not like God placed us on earth to suffer through its amusement, though some people, I would like to believe this is so, or some people believe that this is so. We are placed here to learn from various sufferings, mixed with various experiences. Experiences and suffering become so intertwined sometimes it is hard to tell which is which. Who's not to say that we can experience life without suffering? Just because we as people do not remember such a time does not mean it was not so. It could not be so again. By observing suffering without prejudice, suffering becomes a thing of the past. We suffer through our own prejudgments. We prejudge through fear. We slap labels on experiences and run without going through that which we fear. The thing we prejudge becomes hardened. It expands in energy to consume us. Unless we face these fears, we will always suffer. Going through these fears take an inner light, not of our own imagined minds, but that which is beyond us. It is named love. And this love can take us through all pains and suffering if we but open our hearts to its light. This light surpasses all darkness, and the fears are overcome in this silent inner light that permeates all suffering. Knowledge. There is a difference between one person who distributes knowledge to better their own condition in life and the person who compassionately gives to others for no compensation. Heart of the matter. In my heart, there is no family that is equal to the human family, those who help. Some people forget that helping another, we, the helpers who cares, can obtain the same negatives for those whom we help if we are not careful. There appears no conceit in these words, but concern for the good people. We should pray when we help others so that their evils can be alleviated. In other words, be careful and give their brother and sister a helping hand. Independence. An independent man appears to be dependent on love alone for sustenance, a friend unto humankind, an enemy to hardly anybody. A dependent man appears to be dependent on people for sustenance and make few friends for this dependence and many enemies. Many enemies. The conquering of problems. It appears that we are the problem, and that is all. The problems are really sections of a larger section, like the spokes of a wheel. Without the core, the spokes will fall apart. Thus, the many problems are truly one problem, which appears to emanate through us as several problems. With this in mind, we are the problem. When we admit this, we begin to clean our own backyard. Accusations and judgments against others will cease, and we will be at more ease in our relations. True sexual union. When the baby is passed through the mother's womb, this starts another life on earth. But to worship the womb through sexual intercourse is another matter. Every part of our frame is capable of love. So sexual union is a blessing thing, but not to be worshipped as the ultimate pleasure. The man, in his lustful ways, makes all attempts possible to get back in the womb because of the warmth and protection of the uterus. It appears dark and moist, and the man gets all the nourishment he needs. He does not have to fend for himself. The woman sees the man's distress and wanting comfort and protection, and she tries to play God, but cannot. And thus, this type of sexual union falls short. Only love can be God, and only love can protect and nourish us completely. The woman's protection and nourishment is temporal through the 9 month cycle, and man, in his lust and distortions, believes it is eternal. Thus, the drive to continuously have sex, and most of the time, this is without compassion for the woman. This, in a general sense, and on an unconscious level, it is rarely perceived. The woman, in playing God, lowers herself and disrespects herself, thus, she lusts to be filled by the man. And many men begin to fill her, for one is not enough. For her lust to be that which she is not is never satisfied. Thus, the man worships the woman over his God, and the woman accepts that worship, and they both become destroyed. Thus, we have infidelity, rape, sadism. This lust is never satisfied. It appears that the true sexual union is not about wanting the other partner through lust, but having them in spirit, mind, and body. Thus, appreciating their existence instead of counting the days when they last had sex to make up for the days they did not, or to have sex on a certain day. The true sexual union is a touch on the hand, a kind word, speaking with the eyes in compassion. All this is sexual union. Now that was section 3. I get my sections right of the CARE Teachings for a New World. Hope you enjoyed that read. The full book is auto-narrated with a much kinder voice on the Google Play Books for 99 cents. In the works, there are 2 more I found in development. One is a science fiction thriller called The Forgotten Case of Rain, and I'm only on chapter 4, and I've been on chapter 4 forever. Let's see what happens. And the other is a practical guide to living called Communications and Love, similar to what I'm doing now. To achieve these said works, it's at Amazon.com, GooglePlayBooks.com, Draft to Digital, which is connected to Barnes & Noble and Apple Books. Also, in the show notes below, I'll put down some authors that have similar works to mine in order so you can connect to other authors. My website is www.peoplestillread.com. This is Michael Lighten, and I'll connect with you in the next audio.